So we had a special request for me to go ahead and do a review of the second and third preseason games of the Suns. I was actually going to wait and do a final overall collection of what was going on with the team, but I decided that it would be more prudent to go ahead and just lump these two games together and give y'all a quick little rundown of what's been going on, what I've noticed, and what the implications could be for this upcoming start to the NBA season. Now, we do know that this team obviously has the big four, depending on how you look at it: Nurkic, KD, Beal, and Devin Booker. Your odd man out is probably going to be Josh Okogie at this point. He actually did end up starting in that second preseason game against the Nuggets, but most of the other starters were just not playing, aside from Yusuf Nurkic. So essentially the big three decided to sit that one out and they relaxed while we got to see a showcase of what the bench unit was going to look like. Thanks for tuning in this video, guys. As always, it's your boy Wraith Hoops. Make sure to like the video, comment your thoughts, and subscribe and turn on those post notifications for more content. So in that game, Josh Okogie gave them 17, Yusuf Nurkic gave them 10, and then you saw Saben Lee and Grayson Allen start at the other two guard spots, and they had 10 and 11 respectively. Saben Lee also gave them 9 assists, which was pretty solid. Grayson Allen came up with 7 assists, which was also impressive because while Grayson Allen has a very underrated playmaking sense, I also don't expect him to do a significant amount of playmaking in general. But the fact that he's willing to showcase it in the manner that he did on that evening just simply goes to show that while they don't have necessarily a pure passer like they had with Chris Paul, the Suns do have a committee that can definitely make the right plays and make the right passes at the right time, which does bode well for them as they get closer towards the regular season, and especially once the time comes for them to fine-tune things and get ready for the postseason. Keita gave them 9, Utah gave them 9, Nasir Little and Andrew Eubanks both gave them 6, Eric Gordon gave them 9, and he's going to be a productive member of that bench squad, and Bol, who's somebody that I believe should have taken a step forward before they added obviously all these depth pieces to the bench and kind of muddied things up for him. His opportunity for minutes is going to be a lot more difficult to come by. That being said, in this game he played in 15 minutes and he had 7 points and 4 rebounds, which did bode well. Now in the third game he didn't score. If you're a Bol, you want to showcase your game as much as possible right now, because come regular season, guys are going to start getting cemented roles, and then it's hard to crack the numbers, and you're going to have to do a lot in practice, and then sometimes it's going to have to take you playing in a blowout for you to actually get an opportunity. And when you're Bol, you're almost fresh out of opportunity. Now Metu played at the other forward spot and he gave them 8 and 5 across 22 minutes, which was solid. Overall, I did like the performance they put up. Now, obviously, they did end up losing to the Nuggets, but it wasn't in any important fashion. Obviously, this was a preseason game, and everybody's starters were not even starting the game. Jokic didn't even play for them. So that just goes to show you what kind of night it kind of was. That being said, that doesn't take away from the fact that the bench unit was going at it, and they were trying to maybe not go 110%, but show what they could do so that they could go ahead and let coaches know, hey, I got film. Let me get some burn in the regular season. Let me get some minutes. And then when it's time to cut the roster down and decide who's playing in the playoffs, as the rotations get shortened, you have a bigger sample size and a more comfortable rotation of who you know can do what, when, where, and how. And I think they did a great job of showcasing it today. Obviously, Grayson Allen and Saben Lee stood out the most. Bol had a solid game. Eric Gordon, we know what we're getting from him. He's going to be that solid guy. Josh Okogie gave them that 17 and 6 across just 24 minutes. So it looks like he has all but locked up that other forward spot alongside Kevin Durant. And obviously, we knew that Nurkic was going to be the center. So with that being said, it's just going to come down to how often you can run your bench unit players who marginally looks better than the others, because different from everybody else's benches across the league, in my personal opinion, is that this bench has a lot of different guys that do a lot of different things well, but the ones that have similar roles do things to a very similar level. Like, it might be a little bit of an edge going one way, but overall everybody's really in the same ballpark, which is a great thing to have, because that means you're not tapering off after, you know, your 6th man or the 7th man comes off the bench. You can go 8, 9, 10 deep and you know exactly what you're getting from those guys, and they're going to be as consistent as the 5th and 6th guys. With that being said, in that second game of the preseason, they ended up losing 107 to 115. There weren't any marginally incredible quarters. Their highest scoring quarter was the 4th quarter, where they scored 30. The highest scoring quarter for the Nuggets was the 3rd quarter, where they had 32. Now going on to game 3, they ended up winning 122 to 111 to the Portland Trailblazers, who played their first preseason game. Now in this game, you had a lot more firepower as the entire starting lineup was present, with the exception of Bradley Beal. Eric Gordon did start in his place. You saw their highest scoring quarter being obviously the first half, because that's when the starters played. Phoenix Suns having 37 in the first quarter, 39 in the second quarter, 15 in the third when the bench was really there, and then 31 in the fourth with the bench. The Portland Trailblazers came out firing and had 40 in the first quarter, 15 in the second quarter, 33 in the third, and 23 in the fourth to round out that 111 to 122 loss for them. Nasir Little got the start over Josh Okogie, and he ended up having 5 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists across 30 minutes. So not his finest showing, but he was defensively present and aware. KD obviously gave them 16, 4, and 6 across 21 minutes. Yusuf Nurkic gave them 17, 8, and 5 in 21 minutes. D-Book gave them 18 points, 5 assists, and Eric Gordon gave them 23 and 2 in 18 minutes. So overall, very efficient play from their players, from their bigger guys, the more reliable guys, and you had your stand-ins of your Eric Gordons and your Nasir Littles, who also played decently well. I would like to shout out Udoka, because he did end up, while he only had 5 points, he also had 9 boards in 22 minutes. And having somebody that can be a bruiser at the rim and cleaning up the glass alongside Yusuf Nurkic, or whenever Yusuf Nurkic goes to the bench, is going to be very important. Obviously, they do have Bol Bol, who's supposed to be also manning the center spot, which I don't love. I'd much rather see him at power forward behind Kevin Durant, or even on the court alongside Kevin Durant, but that remains to be seen. Saban Lee came off the bench and gave them 7 points, 2 rebounds, and an assist. And then Yuta Watanabe gave them 10 points. So Yuta's become more of the natural just spark plug off the bench, who's going to get his catch and shoots off. He's going to get his buckets, and that's his sole responsibility. He's not a terrific defender. He's not going to get absolutely demolished on every play, but you know he's out there to give you a bucket or find a bucket. Now, Bol Bol didn't have his best outing, which was a little bit saddening to me. He did only end up playing in 7 minutes actually, and he had 1 assist, no points, no rebounds. So interesting that he really didn't play at all in this one. I felt like since they were going to win this game, and it just seemed like a foregone conclusion because it was the Trailblazers they were playing against in their first preseason game, it just made the most sense that he was going to have his opportunity to just get some extra burn, but that wasn't the case. I thought Yusuf Nurkic might have sat on the bench just to see what it would look like, but they decided to go ahead and let him keep rolling it out, and he did play 21 minutes, giving them that 17 and 8 and the 5 assists that I was talking about. He mitigates the playmaking issues that they're having and that they will likely have, and it'll seem to be like it's more of a committee thing than just one person being the best passer on the team. It's going to be a multiple group of players that passes the ball very effectively and is very unselfish. For me personally, I like where they're going. I like what they're building on. It's unfortunate that some players seem like they're getting edged out of the rotation. There are the players that are making a name for themselves that even I knew they existed, but it wasn't a thing of me expecting them to have an instant impact. Admittedly, this is, of course, as I always say, just the preseason, but it's also the precursor to the regular season where the games actually matter, and it's right around the corner. So getting these players' legs wet, getting everybody's juices going, is going to be very important to hit the ground running, because the Western Conference is not going to be any sort of cakewalk this year. It's loaded, it's packed, there's a bunch of teams that could make it. There's going to be some teams that don't make it that were going to be expected to make it at the beginning of the year, and they're going to be pissed that they didn't. And so it's going to be very important for teams like the Suns to boost their playoff odds and just have more favorable home matchups, or whatever the case may be, by coming out the gate and hitting on all cylinders. I believe that behind their big 3, big 4, if you really want to call it that, they're capable of doing that. And with the showing of their depth over the past couple of games, I think that is even more reasonable to understand just how important it's going to be when it comes down to the wire, and how reliable that bench unit is going to be over the course of the entire season, where everybody's going to want to eat. And as long as everybody's given the minutes and opportunity and time and space to do it, they're going to, as opposed to other teams that have certain players that are going to be on the court kind of just to be on the court, or they're going to be on the court and they're going to shoot, but you're not really expecting the shot to go in, or you're not expecting to get the rebound, or you're not expecting them to make the assist. These guys look like they want to win. They look like they're hungry. They look like they're not just here to catch a check. They're not just here because they got traded for. They're here because they like the game of basketball, because they like who they're playing with, what they're playing for, and they want to win. With that being said, you guys let me know what you think in the comments below. Like the video, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications. And as always, good morning, good evening, good night, no matter where you are on the globe watching. It's your boy Wraith Hoops. I appreciate you watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.